We're talking to Tim Leberecht. You're trying to bring romance back into the whole world of big data and digital and marketing automation, right? What does it mean?
Well, we live in a time when we are inundated with data, and big data is the new norm, right? In marketing and in business in general. And I think the pendulum has swung so much to one side that it's time to correct that and insist on emotions and human experiences as equal to an algorithmic way of conducting business. And I think organizations that understand how to create experiences that are not just convenient and useful and fast and personalized, but are actually personal, intimate, right? That offer friction, meaning, right? That are just off the beaten path. I think they will differentiate in the future because everything else, efficiency and convenience, will become table stakes. So I think that's where the romance comes in.
So you're not against big data, right? But you're saying more like the big guys like Amazon and Zalando, you will not win if you're not bringing romance back.
Well, I think they really build a machine, right? And it's a machine that ruthlessly executes, and it's algorithmic, it's robotic in a sense, right? Although humans still work there. But I think they have built such a powerful machine that it's very hard to compete with that. So I think for everybody else in e-commerce and online retail, the question is how do you differentiate? What makes you special? The question what makes you special, I believe, is increasingly what makes you human. So if you can appear as a human persona and you offer experiences that are intimate and that people can relate to, then I think that may be the only remaining advantage, the ultimate differential in a world of maximizers and optimizers.
So how does it work? Can you have an example or a customer that is doing very well?
Well, I think what's very interesting is to see the rise of mystery formats. So not to create seamless experiences, but actually create deliberately friction and mystery and secrecy. So there are, of course, pop-up stores, which is very interesting, like hybrids, online, offline. Then I think Birchbox or JustFab, so subscription services, right, where you don't really know what's in the box. So there's this element of surprise and of mystique. There's also a startup called Secret Cinema. They do mystery screenings. So they revolutionize movie-going by turning it into an immersive, interactive experience, and then not disclosing the movie they're going to show. So I think those are some examples where companies introduce friction, right? There's also mystery travel. American Express had a service like that where the destination was unknown. So I think anything that deviates from the norm, that pushes people out of their comfort zone, it's kind of counterintuitive, right? But that is actually almost a little bit harder to experience, I think, is a differentiator, and it actually gives us meaning, right? It's deeper than just sort of a superficial, seamless, instant gratification experience. So I think that's an interesting realm of innovation, I think, for the next few years.
And the main competitors of companies like Zalando, so let's say I have a web shop, I sell clothes in Germany. What should I do?
I think it's a mix, right? It's getting the balance right. So you cannot, of course, just sort of lag behind the benefits of big data and integrated platforms. So I think, of course you have to look into that and you have to cover your bases and do all the table stakes. I think that's very important. But I think the one thing I would encourage online shops and retailers to do is maintain your persona. If you're a family business, right, with a lot of legacy and with a certain set of virtues and principles, stick with them. Don't give them up. Don't underestimate that your customers come to you in that segment not just because you offer a more convenient experience, but because they share your values and they like your character and they like what you stand for, right? And I think otherwise it's just going to be all robots and it's going to be very uniform landscape of brands. So I think
show your character, show your heritage.
Show your heritage, right? I mean, I just don't see any other chance for these brands to sort of maintain their advantage. But it's both, right? So they cannot just ignore, of course, the advantages of technology. They have to do that too. But combining that with their heritage and with their personality, I think that is going forward. I think it's the only remaining avenue, frankly.
So last piece of advice, let's say I'm in e-commerce, I'm very automated, very efficient, but I want to bring romance back. Where do I start?
Well, I think start with understanding your users and really understanding the deeper desires that they have, not just the needs, that are functionally met, but actually really understanding why do they engage with you? Like what is really driving their visit to your site. And then how can you create a mix, look at the whole customer experience journey basically. Where are moments during that customer experience journey where there might be an opportunity, right, to do things differently and actually create friction or create surprise, make it more difficult for them, right? So it's not across the board. I'm not saying you have to frustrate your customers during the entire journey, but I think you have to study that map carefully and then look for opportunities where you can deviate from what the typical convention is. And I think if you can own some of these micro moments, some of these moments of truth, and orchestrate them differently, I think then they will return. They will appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.